Good morning, everyone. It might be a little wet outside and maybe a little dreary, but in here it is warm, it is friendly, and we are having a fantastic time, are we not? It is always my pleasure to welcome visitors to Sullivan Middle School. Our students here have this fantastic ability to extend themselves to visitors. And so on behalf of the students and the teachers and staff here at Sullivan Middle School, I want to thank you so much for thinking of us and coming to this program. We particularly want to welcome those veterans who are here. Every year you come, and every year we have a fantastic time listening to your experiences and sharing with you in your commitment to this country, the United States of America. As you know, this particular event, this particular day, has a particular or a special meaning for us because we are remembering one of our own, Nate Manow. And you'll be hearing a little bit more about that as Mrs. Ryan makes her presentation. But I want to extend to the family of Nate our very, very warm welcome. And thank you so much for sharing him with us, him when he was here, and his memories now. We are going to move into our program. And as always, students, we are on our best behavior, and we are going to go through the program unannounced. I want to welcome, though, those individuals who are sitting on the stage with us today, because these individuals, like you, have taken time out of their day because of this very important event. And so I'd like to begin with the Reverend Hughes, who is here, and will be presenting our invocation. Mr. Monfredo, who is here on behalf of the school committee. Mr. Morris Bergman, who is also here as city councilor on behalf of Mayor Petty. Ms. Nicole Valentin, who is here on behalf of the city manager. We want to welcome you specially and hope that, I'm jumping over one, and Ms. Holly Hodkins on behalf of Representative James McGovern. We want to welcome you and thank you for having taken the time to be here with us. We're going to stand now for our presentation of our colors.
Please stay standing for the Please stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll remain standing for the anthem. We'll remain standing as we We remain standing as we invite the Reverend Hughes for invocation.
Almighty God, as we celebrate Memorial Day and this program, we seek to honor the men and women who gave their lives in service to our nation. Their blood was shed so the United States would be free and strong. As we reflect, let this Memorial Day celebration program bring to remembrance that which is noble, just, fair in all our deeds. And may the Lord continue to bless this nation 1,000 times. May the God of our fathers increase you with the spiritual and physical success you need and so desire, and grant you peace to enjoy it in this great land of our choice. Amen.
Please be seated. We'll now invite Ms. Holly Hodgkins to the podium.
I'd first like to say thank you to Sullivan Middle School for inviting me here today to commemorate this important occasion. Congressman McGovern is sorry he could not attend today's event, but I'm happy to be here on his behalf. Unfortunately, after I give my remarks, I have to head out to another Memorial Day program, but I very much appreciate you having me. I'm always happy to be invited back to Sullivan Middle School to celebrate the events that honor our veterans. In our nation, we have 2 holidays to pay respect to those who have fought to protect our country, as well as advance the pursuit of security and prosperity worldwide. On November 11th, we celebrate Veterans Day, created in the aftermath of World War I. The holiday is meant to recognize the sacrifices made by veterans. It is not only meant to recognize those who served in World War I, but anyone who fought in defense of our nation and its principles, from the Revolutionary War to today. But on Memorial Day, our nation gathers for a different reason. While Veterans Day is a celebration, the last Monday in May is for remembrance and reflection. It is when our country honors all of the men and women who have died fighting for our country. This solemn occasion is born out of one of the most violent conflicts our nation has ever faced. Its story begins with the Civil War, where the Confederate States attempted to secede from the Union, dividing our nation in 2. Neighbors pitted against neighbors, the war still accounts for the largest amount of American deaths in combat, with over 600,000 soldiers killed. As the war came to an end in 1866, people began placing flags on the graves of those who died in action. Starting in Waterloo, New York, the practice would spread across the nation. Officially, Congress recognized this holiday in 1971 as a way to honor the fallen heroes of the United States of America. Fast forward to 2017, and while we may honor the dead today, it is equally important to show appreciation for the veterans who experienced the loss of their fellow service members. So I'd like to take a minute to salute the active duty service members and veterans who have given their lives to defend our freedoms, especially those who have given the ultimate sacrifice and died while serving. For the veterans who remain with us after their time in service, it is important for you to know it is our duty to support and assist you when you return home. Everyone has a role to serve in our community in supporting veterans. It is the responsibility of our government to assist veterans and their families with the benefits they deserve for their honorable service. Congressman McGovern is always willing to provide any assistance he can in connecting veterans with agencies like the VA or their branch of service. If you ever feel your elected officials can help you, especially Congressman McGovern, I encourage you to reach out to them. Families, neighbors, and young people also have a role to play. On Monday, we observe Memorial Day. Please take a moment and think about all the freedoms you enjoy. Living in America allows us all to have the opportunity to pursue our dreams and make them a reality. Without the brave men and women who serve, this would not be possible. If you have a parent, a grandparent, a neighbor, or anyone else you know that is a veteran, make sure to thank them for their service. Make a connection with them. Tell them you appreciate the sacrifices they have made. We live in the greatest country in the world, and I'm thankful every day to call it home. Thank you to all the veterans in the audience for your service.
Memorial Day, originally called Decoration Day, emerged after the Civil War. It was a day where loved ones honored past veterans from the war by placing flowers and flags on their graves. After World War I, the holiday was changed to what we know today, Memorial Day. Okay. Memorial Day, originally called Decoration Day, emerged after the Civil War. It was a day where loved ones honored past veterans from the war by placing flowers and flags on their graves. After World War I, the holiday was changed to what we know today, Memorial Day, and it honored all past veterans from any war. Memorial Day is celebrated on the last Monday of May as a federal holiday. For many people, Memorial Day is known as the unofficial start of the summer season. It is a weekend where many families and friends gather to have parties and barbecues, but to me, Memorial Day has a different meaning. Memorial Day is a day where we commemorate the men and women who died protecting our country and our rights. It is a day where we remember the sacrifices that these servicemen and women gave to allow us the privileges that we often take for granted. They put themselves on the line every day, leaving behind their family, friends, and the comfort of their own homes. They risked their lives for us, complete strangers, to ensure us freedom and safety. Memorial Day is a time for us to acknowledge the many admirable qualities they possessed, like courage, leadership, loyalty, perseverance, tenacity, and patriotism. These men and women went into the dangers of war for our well-being. They spent months and even years far away from their home, not knowing if they were going to return. Without them, we would have none of the freedoms that we enjoy as rights. Sadly, they can't be here with us today, but their legacy will forever remain in our hearts. Remembering our fallen heroes is just one of the few things we can do to try and repay them for all that they have given us. Often, because of our busy lives, we forget to stop and think about the liberties we have today and the people that helped us secure those privileges. But on Monday, please pause to think about the heroic men and women that gave up their lives so that we can live free, safe, and happy. Thank you.
A miracle of nature occurred on many of the battlefields of World War I, spraying fields of poppies onto the barren land, as red as the soil on which so much blood had been shed. The miracle inspired a poem, written in 1915 by Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae for the funeral of a fallen friend and a fellow soldier, called In Flanders Fields. The spirit of the lost comrades has lived on as the poppy has become a symbol of sacrifice, of lives lost in the war, and with the hope that none die in vain. In November of 1918, Moina Michael was inspired to write a response to In Flanders Fields, and she purchased a bouquet of poppies and handed them to a businessman in New York City as a remembrance and tribute to the fallen heroes of the war. Through her efforts, the poppy became the national symbol of sacrifice. The American Legion carries on the tradition of remembering those killed in war by distributing red paper poppies each year. These petals of these poppies are bound together for veterans and by veterans. Donations for these poppies benefit our veterans and military. Similarly, the blue forget-me-not flowers are distributed by the American veterans as a gesture not to forget the wartime promises that nothing will be too good for the returned soldier. Wearers of these flowers symbolizing an unselfish service in assisting unfortunate and needy disabled American veterans. By remembering the living, we also honor the dead. Many of you were given one of these flowers as you entered this room today to wear as a tribute to the men and women who have made a sacrifice for the freedoms and liberties for which our country stands. Thank you.
I will now read the poem In Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago, we lived felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, those poppies grow in Flanders fields. The blood of heroes never dies, but lend a luster to the red of the flower that blooms above the dead in Flanders fields.
Thank you to the students who have spent the time to put together their thoughts on this very important Memorial Day. The challenge goes out to us. It says that we have been passed a torch. And this meeting here today has absolutely no meaning until we recognize that torch, young and old, that we have a torch that has been passed to us, a torch which stands for liberty and justice. We'll now have our presentation by Mr. Manfredo.
First of all, I would be remiss if I didn't congratulate our student speakers here today for a wonderful job, our band, and our chorus. Let's give them a nice round of applause. Thank you very much for having me here today, and I bring greetings from Superintendent Maureen Benender, the school committee, to all our veterans and families here today. The topic today is heroes, and we have dedicated this day to one of our past heroes, Nate Manow, for his, as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of his passing. He was not only a hero, but he led by example, helping others and being involved in community service. But you know, today's generation seems to be confused about who are heroes. We allow ourselves to believe that heroes are athletes, entertainers, or actors. A hero isn't someone who puts on a baseball uniform and hits a home run, or hits a basket from the top of the key. A hero is someone who works for the homeless, the hungry, or the sick. A hero is someone who leaves his or her family for months or even years at a time to defend his country or her country in a desert or a jungle halfway around the world, not knowing if they will ever return. A hero is a firefighter or a police officer, someone who each day serves and protects people he or she doesn't even know. A hero is a mom or dad who struggles every day to make a difference in the lives of their children. Someone who may work 2 jobs to pay the bills. Someone who goes to parent-teacher conferences and still finds time to play in the backyard with their children. A hero is someone who volunteers to sit in a nursing home and hold the hand of a stranger who may not even realize that they are there. My friends, those who say we have no heroes are wrong. We have plenty of them. We have just forgotten where to look. So my message to our middle school students that are here in the audience today is a very simple one. You have the opportunity to be someone very special. And that opportunity, boys and girls, is available to you regardless of your class rank, the color of your skin, regardless of your sex or financial status. The opportunity is available to each and every one of you. In the future, you can be a teacher and be the hero to some child who has forgotten how to hope. You can become a volunteer now, become a hero to someone who is hungry or homeless. You can help them change their lives, and in the process, you can change the community in which you live. You can speak up against hatred, violence, bullying, and bigotry, and become a hero to every citizen who has ever faced ridicule simply because of who they are. Every day, there will be opportunities for you to make a difference in this community. You know, someone once said, I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never, never forget how you made them feel, making them feel special. Students, you have the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of others in one small corner of this community. As you think about Memorial Day, starting tomorrow, be someone's hero. Let's pay our good deeds forward. Start being a hero in this community, for we're all counting on you. And come next year, let me know what you've accomplished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Manfredo. And now we're going to hear from Mr. Morris Bergman, who is here on behalf of Mayor Petty.
Thank you. Thank you, Principal Robertson. Again, I'm here on behalf of the mayor and the city council, and I bring their greetings as well. On this humbling of occasions, Memorial Day weekend, there is a tendency, quite justifiably so, to focus on the loss of human lives and the sacrifices that were made. Residents of Worcester certainly have made those sacrifices. Beginning with the birth of our country, residents of Worcester died in the War of Independence. In the Civil War, 398 residents of Worcester died. In World War I, approximately 355 residents died. In World War II, 650. In the Korean War, more died. In Vietnam, dozens more. Others, of course, have died indirectly and from other conflicts since. The American Revolution and Civil War was fought at our home, but fighting 2 world wars abroad on distant shores makes us ask the question, what were those sacrifices for? That answer, of course, is freedom. But not for our freedom as Americans, but for the freedom of others in other places, often strange and far away. This concept of freedom, freedom to worship, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to assemble, freedom to pursue happiness. Those concepts are so ingrained in our American psyche that we are willing to ensure its existence in faraway places, even if it means the ultimate sacrifice. There is no other country in the world where selflessness like that exists. But we should also focus today on the untold number of peoples who would never have tasted freedom, but for the sacrifices of these American soldiers. For me, that fact is very real, as my own parents were liberated in World War II from concentration camps as a direct result of America's involvement in helping to defeat the Nazis. Saying the proper thank you to a living veteran is not that hard to do and should be done more often. But it's made all the more difficult when that veteran is gone. Today we remember Nate Manow, one such veteran. As luck and fate would have it today, and I would say good fortune, I had the privilege and honor to have grown up on the same street as Nate, often called Babe. Our families knew each other, but I really didn't get to know Nate very well until much later in life. So many of our greatest generation, I quickly learned that he more than deserved that title. Just on a personal note, I can say that Nate, my wife and myself traveled to California when he was in his 80s. Arriving late, we ate at a restaurant, and at 3 in the morning, I couldn't pull him away from the bar, telling stories about his wartime experience and amazing everybody with what he was involved in. I would encourage all of you to learn more about Nate's story and our other veteran's story in the History Channel documentary that was filmed partly on his front lawn on that Brownell Street, which he and I grew up on. The creation of Nate Manow Way here at Sullivan Middle School, when Nate enjoyed spending so much time educating others, is certainly fitting. Nate inspired and educated all of us, not only about life as a World War II veteran, but as a husband, father, and grandfather, and friend, and as a part of living history, but most of all, as an American hero. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bergman. We're now going to hear from Ms. Nicole Valentin on behalf of the City Manager.
Thank you, Principal Robertson. First and foremost, to our honored guests, our veterans, and to the Manow family, thank you for our freedom. It's an honor to be here today to represent my boss, City Manager Edward Augustus, who asked me to share this letter with all of you. Dear students, faculty, and staff of Sullivan Middle School, and guests, please accept my apologies for not being able to be with you today. The Sullivan Middle School Memorial Day observance is always a highlight of the weekend, and I'm very sorry I cannot be there to share it with you. 10 years ago, Worcester lost the man most responsible for this ceremony, Nate Manow. Nate lived to the age of 89, and he packed a lot of living into those years. He flew 25 bombing missions during World War II on his bomber, the Pistol Packin' Mama. He flew support missions on D-Day and was awarded numerous commendations for heroism. Upon returning to Worcester, he ran a wholesale furniture business, and at 70, when most of his peers were retiring, he graduated from Worcester State College and undertook another crucial service for our community, beginning a second career as a teacher. While at Sullivan, Nate was a champion of every effort to recognize and honor his fellow World War II veterans. He founded the school's World War II Museum and began the event that you all attend here today. His energy and enthusiasm for this work was a great inspiration for us all. This weekend, we pause to remember those who paid the ultimate price for all of us. It is our duty never to forget those who paid the ultimate price for the sake of us. Let us all follow the example set by Nate, who not only served himself, but worked tirelessly to ensure that we properly honored those who went to war like him and did not make it home. Like the driveway leading up to this school, we should all strive to follow the Nate Manow way. Thank you all.
Dr. Robertson, honored guests, veterans, Manow family, students and colleagues. We have heard many remarks this morning about heroes and about Nate Manow. We come into contact with heroes every day. We just have to make sure we take the time and have the awareness to recognize them. Nate Manow gives us a wonderful example of what a hero is. Someone who serves, sacrifices, and leaves a legacy to emulate. Nate Manow was truly a member of what Tom Brokaw refers to as the greatest generation, for his leading over 25 missions over Germany and providing air support for the Allied landing on D-Day as a navigator for the Air Force. It is the navigator who makes split-second decisions to hopefully complete the mission and bring the crew back to safety. A decorated hero, he was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, 6 Air Force medals, and various campaign medals from around the world. After the war, he enlisted in the Air Force Reserves and retired as a lieutenant colonel in 1963. This service speaks volumes about his deep-rooted love for his country and is a testament to the level of commitment Mr. Manow brought to any undertaking throughout his life. His contributions to the Worcester Public Schools and the Worcester community span almost 20 years. As already mentioned, he founded the World War II Museum to honor the sacrifices and contributions of those who served our country from Worcester. in securing the freedoms we continue to enjoy in our country today. He delivered countless lectures about the Revolutionary and Civil Wars, the Armenian Genocide, and World War II to students from elementary schools to area colleges. He began the tradition of the annual Veterans and Memorial Day programs held here at Sullivan Middle School. For many years, he also encouraged and coached Sullivan Middle School students in participating in the National History Day contest on the regional and state level, with one student becoming a finalist in the national competition in Washington, D.C. Mr. Manow personified what it means to be a lifelong learner. Not only did he receive his Bachelor of Arts degree in 1988 at the age of 70, he was also the oldest person to receive a master's degree from Worcester State University in 2003 at the age of 85. His love for learning inspired and motivated students and teachers for many, many years. A man of the utmost integrity, Nate always offered a welcome smile, a kind or encouraging word, a humorous anecdotal remark, or a listening ear to anyone with whom he came in contact during the course of the school day. He treated everyone with dignity and respect. His examples of service, leadership, and sacrifice are a model for all of us. Nate Manow has left the Sullivan Middle School community an admirable legacy, one to which we should all aspire. All of this is what makes someone a hero. In closing, I would like to share with you some excerpts from a speech Nate delivered to some area high school students. He said, "I would like to talk to you about what I believe are the major keys to success. Success in life, now and in the future, is not easily achieved. However, you can achieve more in life if you do a few important things. Never settle for less than your best. Hard work is essential to do your best. You must sacrifice time and energy to make the most of yourself. Never give up when times become tough. Making it through difficult times makes everything else seem easier. To succeed, you must give a task everything you have. Only then can you be the best. Never give up on yourself. If you do not believe in yourself, it is difficult to make others believe in you. You must have the courage to try to reach your goals and to fight for what you believe is right. Be confident that you can achieve success. Never lose sight of your dreams. They are the basis of success. We all have dreams for the future. Trust yourself to make the right decisions in life. Do not forget your dreams or push them aside. Never forget your heritage and the facts of your history. That is the strength of your moral fiber. That is what will sustain you through the difficult periods in your life. Decisions you make, actions you take, will determine whether we continue to have a democracy with the kind of public discussion and sense of community that we have allowed our nation to progress. As citizens, all of us have a responsibility to foster a society, a culture in which moderation can prevail, in which you can work to thoughtful solutions to real problems. You can't control the future, but you can control how you approach the future. Education remains the key to your future, and lifelong opportunities exist as you go further in your education. Be flexible. Strive for balance in your life. Try to be helpful to your fellow students. Remember that learning is most productive when you are actively engaged in it. Your talents can be utilized wherever you find yourself. Value teamwork. There is a growing need for leaders who understand and appreciate collaboration. Though it takes time to include others in decision-making, it is well worth the effort. The results are always better. Unfortunately, in today's society, honesty has begun to lose its value. But when your turn comes to decision-making, be truthful and honest. Do not stoop to others' standards. Make them rise to yours. Always keep learning. Never give up on your studies. Live the kind of life so that you can say to the world, I have been a role model for future generations. My life is my legacy to you. These words speak volumes about the way Nate Manow lived, and this is the legacy he left to us. How fortunate we have been to have known him, or at least to have heard these words of his today. Let us take them to heart as we celebrate his memory and the memory of all the men and women who gave their lives for our country. Thank you.
Our last message comes to us from Mr. Robert Jennings, who was a dear friend of Nate. He says, on behalf of my family, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this program. Due to a previous commitment, I cannot be here for you today, but I am there in spirit. First, I would like to send a special greeting to all my friends, students, staff, and especially our honored guests who are here and who served and protected our great country through your military service. To the families of our brave servicemen and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice of their lives, and to those who are no longer with us, I say thank you. For 15 years, and the last 8 as the principal of Sullivan Middle School, I had the honor to be a part of this great experience of supporting the programmatic efforts to put this memorial service together. Nate Manow was, of course, our leader in this effort. When the teachers returned from their summer vacation and are ready to welcome the students back to school, Nate would always have already been back weeks before, and instead of asking me how my summer was, the first words out of his mouth would be, Robert, we need to make some time before everyone returns to begin the planning of the Veterans Day and Memorial Day programs. This was in August. So when we get some more time this morning, come on down to the war room so I can tell you what I've been thinking about. And that would be the start of it. And Eddie Morocco, Bob Archambault, Nate's sidekicks in this effort made sure that Nate's efforts and thoughts and dreams were met. Each morning, I would be one of the first persons in the building, and Nate would be next. He would stop in the main office every morning with a wonderful greeting. He shared ideas about life, life's challenges, and how we make it through each day, making sure we do something to help others. Nate appreciated my leadership and how I managed the building and cared for the students. But when he saw something that wasn't quite right, or had thoughts of how I could streamline things, he never held back. But it was always in a caring and supportive way. like a dad would do. So in closing, thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you. I salute you all. I thank you so much for being a very important part of my life. God bless you, God bless Nate, and God bless America. Students, you have listened to what I'm sure you see as have been a history class. Because after all the things that you've heard said are things that happened and have passed, and you're wondering to yourself, what's my part in this? And I want to remind you of a few of the important nuggets. One which came from Flanders Field. It says, you have the responsibility to hold the torch high. From Mr. Manfredo, you heard that you have the opportunity to be a hero. You're thinking to yourself, me, a hero? Yes, you, a hero. You might not be able to go to far lands as you heard about the veterans who we celebrate today. But here in your classrooms, you're learning how to write. You're learning how to speak. And you're learning how to serve. And what better preparation can you have than being a good writer who can see the needs in his or her community and can use his or her pen to make a difference? What greater opportunity can there be than you, when you see the needs of others in your community, that you can use the speech that you have learned here to speak effectively, to persuade those who can make a difference, so that they will make the changes that will make our world a better place. And so I say to you students, yes, this is as much about you as it is about our heroes, because it's saying to you that you, with your speech, with your words, with your writing, you can reach out and become the great heroes who change this world. So I say to you, the torch has been passed on. Are you willing to take on the challenge? Going to ask the question again. The torch has been passed on. Are you willing to take on the challenge? There we go. Here at Sullivan, we say, we have as our motto, making a difference. And that is what this is all about, making a difference. And so today, as we celebrate our heroes, students, let us stand and give a rousing applause to our heroes who are here with us. Thank you. Thank you. You may be seated. We are now going to move into the last section of our program as we listen to our band, and they're going to be performing 2 pieces, and after that we will have our closing prayer. After our benediction, we will have taps and the retiring of the colors. We're going to ask the students to remain seated until our guests have been escorted from the cafeteria. Thank you.
If God be for us, who can be against us? We have nothing to fear. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy, to the only wise God our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and ever. May the God of peace keep you and grant you peace beyond understanding, joy in all circumstances. Amen.